Yorushka. We are continuing our track by track listen through to the second person album with Post Spring. I can't believe we're already on track 6. I know that I post these like a couple of days apart from each other, but I feel like I've managed to get through these quite quickly because it's just been such a smooth album. You know, everything we've listened to so far has definitely been of a sound. I'm not going to repeat all the things I said in previous videos about, obviously I've learned a lot about the group history to understand where this album fits in, but yeah, I'm just kind of intrigued to see what we get with each new song, especially considering that after this song we're going to go into, well, a whole row of music videos. So clearly this first part of the album was about sort of setting a bit of the mood, and then we just got all into like major hit territory. So this is the last song before a ton of music videos. So I'm interested to see what we get. But Post Spring, no idea what to expect. Actually, based on what we've had previously on the album, I'm expecting something very musicianship focused, beautiful recording, bit of soul, definitely, and some very cool core funkiness. But this is the shortest song so far on the album, with exception to the intro. So, who knows? Who knows what we're going to get? Something a bit concise and punchy, perhaps. Let's find out. Yorushka, second person, Post Spring. Let's go. You know what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say it. Okay, it's better. No Mickey. Out minimalist sounding song. I'm wondering what's going to build up. It's moving along at quiet pace. Nice. Oh, okay, nice little change of rhythm there. I like how that sort of broke down at the end on the third beats and then a slightly different rhythm then punches you back in. I love her little inflections in her voice. There it is. Oh, she sounds so tired. I'm gonna yawn now. I'm not yawning at this song. God, I got infectious yawns off the song. I feel a lot of the journey of this song is really being expressed on the drum kit. Alright, let's stop it before the next song comes in. No sighs or yawns at the end. So the little vocal inflections she did in that were fantastic. They're so fun. But really, like, I'm pretty sure she did a little yawn sound, and just immediately, I'm really bad for infectious yawns. The minute I heard it, I was actually, even talking about it's making me want to yawn again now. So, God damn it! Why is it? Science. That's what we really need to know. Why is that a thing? Okay, look, seriously, this song, I enjoyed this one a lot. It definitely for me feels like it was following on a little bit from Play Sick. This definitely feels like an album where the songs, rather than songs that twist and turn, they really seem to follow on from each other quite smoothly. Like the tone of the album will just slowly sort of shift via the songs, is what we've got so far. There's no song which directly super changes from the last one, and they all basically have a similar kind of timbre of the trumpets, the drums, the way it's recorded. In a way, the best thing about this so far is it means that the whole album almost has this like lounge feeling where, rather than hearing a collection of different songs which all have their own vibe, something that I do actually very much like as well, but this album's whole vibe, which equally works because it's deliberately being lent into, is one where each of the songs really just feels like it's part of the same session. So you feel like you're more listening to just a singular session where the tone is the same thing, or the instrumentalist is staying in the same place. They're all sitting there and they just play one song after the other, rather than an album where each song brings its own identity. So when I'm reviewing this, I am thinking very much about how all of the songs are adding to more of a whole. That it almost sounds like the songs are all sort of less than being individual songs in their own right. They're all part of this whole larger session that the album seems to embody. I would say though that Post Spring definitely has a little bit of they're both PS is the initials, but Post Spring definitely follows up from Play Sick in that it's a song that's less focused on having a central kind of repeating groove, and instead is more of a traditionally structured song where the chorus feels catchy and rewarding. You build up to it, and then sort of the verse is a little bit more low key. I do like the fact that again, I really like those bits where the song changes and the drums really sort of lead you through that shift, like at the end of the chorus where we're on 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and then 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3. That little breakdown at the end there is really cool. Just kind of like sort of breaking up that 16 beat. It's really just the whole song feels very nicely structured, like the chorus. The drums are kind of the MVP on this one for me. Well, obviously the vocals as well, but the drums really were great. This is a song that really does balance a lot on that. I mean, yes, the bass was doing a great job as well, and it was nice to hear the trumpets and everything was kind of doing its point, but it felt like the drums were very much leading this song, which was cool. It was rather interesting. Nice, clearly defined, but definitely part of this larger whole that I'm feeling from Whole with a W, that I'm feeling from the album. And of course, what's really interesting is, as I say, these songs all feel like they very much are part of painting a unified picture. It feels more like a session than individual songs in a way. But of course, that's why I'm really fascinated to see what happens when we move on to these songs next. Because we're about to move on to a bunch of songs which are basically singles. Now, again, I'll just cover this in case anyone says, oh, Howard, that one's not a single. For me, it's 2026. The definition of a single is not whether you sold it as an individual CD. Did you make a music video for it? As far as I'm concerned, if you put the budget and the time into having a music video created, that in 2026 is what a single is. Because let's face it, as much as I like reviewing albums, people basically just pick the songs out of their streaming platform or out of, I would say MP3 deck, but I don't think people even bother with that anymore. People just pick the streaming links and put it into a playlist. So if you've created a music video, that for me means that you consider that song to be a single because you want people to listen to that song singly, or you wouldn't have made a music video. So for me, I'm really interested after just going through a batch of songs, well, an intro, but 5 songs that all felt like they were part of a unified whole. How are the next 5 songs that are still part of that unified whole, but clearly designed to be, or expected to also be listened to in isolation? How are they going to fit in with that? I'm really intrigued to find out. And of course, we're continuing this series. As mentioned before, I'm going to try and post one of these every 3 days. So please stay with me on this one. I know it takes a lot of time to get through such a long album, but I'm enjoying this and I want to enjoy this journey with you guys and I want to share this. And so I really hope that we can all have fun with this one. And please get in the comments as always. Tell me what you think. I'm genuinely excited to see how the next 5 songs contrast to the last 5, because the thing is when you create an album, you're not thinking, oh, this song's going to be the single. Yeah, there might be some where you have a sneaking suspicion, but that's something that's usually decided afterwards. So I'm genuinely intrigued whether these songs are going to feel quite different or whether what am I going to feel that's different. But I will say, up until this point, I kind of all these songs definitely feel like album tracks, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that they don't seem to be we had things like Play Sick and Post Spring that definitely had catchier choruses. But I feel like these songs have more been about just kind of chilled groove feelings, just a good vibe. And Post Spring was definitely part of that. So anyway, let's see what we get with the next song when we get around to it. But until then, like I say, get in the comments, tell me what you think. Until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.